I'm Nakara Jackson. We're speaking out live here in East Chattanooga, and I'm joined with
Chalita, one of your hosts.
Okay, John Lachlan.
Jai from Australia, currently living in Chattanooga, East Chattanooga.
Eric Warren.
Alex Jackson.
And I'm Jay Christopher. I'm with Legends by Lang and the Golden Wing Foundation. And we're here to give as much support we can in this community as we begin to speak out.
Awesome. So, I have a question for you guys. Do you think that it's enough afternoon school programs for you? And what are your interests?
Yes, soccer and art. I love to do that.
Soccer and art. Guys, speak out. We want to be able to hear you.
And when I do that, I like to exercise every day on my bike for about at least 2 hours a day.
Awesome.
At school, I would like to do math, play ball, and run, and take care of my mom.
Very good.
I like to play basketball all day. That's it.
Okay. What about you?
I like to play football, baseball, run track, and just play around.
Okay, and since we have some of these programs here, like the Glass House, we have that here. Are you guys involved in any of the activities that they have?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Okay.
So we have a few that do?
Okay, and what's some of the activities that they do?
I said no.
Sorry.
All
Not
right.
in there yet.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You know, that's the great thing about a talk show and about being able to get in the community and speak live. And first I want to go back and reiterate on the question that was asked. The young lady asked, Nakara, she asked, what after-school activities would you like to see in your school? And each one of them gave some scenarios or synopsis of things that they would like to see happen. But as far as basketball, this young man said he would like to do basketball. And there are some basketball activities, but we need to get more information so they know about them. So we need to make sure you guys know about that. In regards to this young man, he spoke of to even taking care of his mother. There could be some programs that could help us where we can even help take care of parents and do things for them as after-school activities. And then, of course, this young man talked about Australia. This young man, he was talking about how he likes to do biking and for a couple of hours. Maybe we could arrange programs where more kids could get together and ride bikes together or other type activities. So when we speak of after-school activities, we as community leaders or people who are involved in the community, we need to know and more so that we can bring these activities together. What about it, young lady? Tell us more.
Well, one of my questions that I have for you guys is, what do you think about the scenarios of bullying, gangs, drugs, and violence? Do you have any thought about those little questions that I have for you guys?
First,
Have you experienced any of them?
Well, I don't like bullying.
well, speak out. Speak out so we can hear you.
I hate when people get bullied because they hang themselves. Then
Have you been have you experienced it, or have you seen people doing the act of
I
bullying?
just see it on TV.
Oh, you see it on TV? Have any of you guys have
Seen- I've
experienced?
seen
Yes,
it.
have you seen it?
My friend got bullied in Australia
What
at
happened?
school, and
What was it?
eventually he turned out hanging himself, which was
Oh,
very,
goodness.
very sad. The
That
reason
was
why I
nice.
think people do it is just because they're jealous of the other person and what they have and they don't.
That's all. I think the same way. But I'm interested of what was it that they were bullying this other friend of yours about?
They said he was gay,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, he never was.
You know, that's
And-
beautiful you say that. Go ahead.
And he was a great friend, and he always hung out, always rode bikes with me every day.
That's horrible. That's so sad to hear, news like this. This is every day. You hear, kids so young and bullied by other kids. And just, this happening is so sad. What
You
about
know-
you?
Go ahead.
Do you...
Bullying, what do you-
It was like this dude in my class. He had a sleeping disorder. And he fall asleep.
Say it again, louder.
A sleeping disorder.
A sleeping disorder, okay.
And the teacher would be talking to him. He'll fall asleep, and they'll talk about him and stuff. And so he went to a new school,
So what you would say when we talk about bullying, because right now that's the topic we seem to be touching bases on. Um, I noticed when this young man, say your name please.
Kadron Lachlan.
I noticed when you talked about bullying and then you started to express your feelings, I saw this sadness come over you. And most people are not going to talk about sadness. And most men in particularly don't think you can be sad or that you can show expression because that's a sign of weakness. You know, in this thing we are dealing with called bullying, you got to remember it's not just older guys toward little guys or older girls toward little girls. There's some younger kids who bully older kids. It is people who feel like they're superior over you, or they want to make you insuperior to them, meaning they want you to think less of yourself. So I think a lot of times when we want to talk about bullying, we've got to answer two questions. One, we've got to learn how to stand up for ourselves collectively. Collectively. Because we can run to parents all day, to teachers all day, to older people all day, but once you're by yourself, what is going to happen?
They're not going to be
So what we have to do, that's right. So what I think something we have to learn to do is to find a way to unite as one, or to become a bigger voice than that voice that is louder than us. And that is something we have to find a solution to. Now, what do you think about the violence in our community? And when we say violence, there's all kinds of violence. You know, a lot of time you think about the African American community, the minority community, the impoverished communities. You think about poor. But there is a violence going on throughout our city. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about maybe the way we feel about police brutality. Let's talk about people in our community, drugs. Let's talk about just yourselves. What do you think about violence? What is violence when you think about the word violence? What is violence?
Violence is like something harming another person.
Something harming another person. And so that's right. So what do you think about violence? What does it mean to you?
It made me feel bad.
Very good. Yes. Go ahead.
It made me feel bad because like other people like in the world, they need things and they just don't they don't have it and they just get sick and die. And I hate when folks die and stuff.
Yeah, so we're saying health and having the proper medicines and the proper health care in our communities. In another sense, that could be violence because these people are not getting, that could be called a violence too. It's violating the people in your community rights to have the best things, because that could even be called a form of violence.
Right. And what
Being
about your
deprived.
parents? Sometimes you see parents, fighting
Right.
over issues, financial, relationship-wise. You may have that as a picture in your brain. Also, I know some of you guys have sisters. What about the sexual abuse that men are putting on our young ladies? For it's the touching, for it's the words that you say, the grabbing, the groping, all of that. Raping, yeah, that's one too.
Real
Yeah.
quick, I think the police in East Chattanooga need to get a little bit better, because just the other night I heard about 6 gunshots,
Speak out, yes.
and I never heard a police.
So this young man said the other night, he said he felt like the police are not responding in an effective manner because he lives in that East Chattanooga. He said he heard 6 gunshots, and not in any time within, how long did it take? You didn't hear it throughout that time. He never heard a police car or a siren. So that means these are kids speaking out now. So we're not talking about what we think. We're talking about what these young people think. We've seen some very strong impact from what kids can do if they speak out. So he's saying we need to upgrade our police department in regard to response. What do you guys think about it? I'm sorry.
I think they do the same thing because like my mama a long time ago, she called the police and it took them like hours to pull up.
So you mean, again, here's a young man saying that one time his family was in a situation and they called in the police. And one thing we want to say, because I don't want anyone to take anything and to beat down or to put down what's in place, because the police is supposed to be there to protect, serve, and to be there for us. But I think, again, our young people are saying right here, there's a communication gap between poverty, government, police, and the manner in which we are being responded to. Now, you were going to say, young man?
One time, like, we was living at, me and my brother and my mama, we was living at our old house, and she was, like, trying to, like, we was in bed sleep, and we was in the house, it was real, real dark, and this lady, she came to our door and just started doing our door like this. She was trying to break in our house, and he was still sleeping. And I woke up with my mama because I thought somebody was trying to do something to my mama. So I went to the door with my mama, and it was the lady trying to get in the house trying to do something. So my mom called the police before she ran away, and the police came early in the morning time,
The
and
next
it took
day.
them for a long time.
So, okay, so again, we want to, again, be respectful of all things, but we want to acknowledge the fact that things can be better. So we're saying that our service from our police department, our communication with our police department, and then reaching out to each other, because you have to meet them halfway. No matter what we do in our life, we got to realize there's no one solution to any situation. You know, we just talked about violence. We talked about bullying. But what about gangs? You know, and I'm going to say this before I mention anything about gangs. I want to say this. When we do interviews, we don't know what each person is involved in. We're not asking what they're involved in. We're only asking their opinion. Because just as these kids and myself is sitting here, people can take the wrong attitude, the wrong idea that people are snitching or trying to tell something or trying to uncover something. That's not our purpose. Our purpose for speaking out in this community is to guide young minds to a positive outcome at the end of the day. To let our political people know, to let our police department know, to let our parents and the kids in our community know there is someone concerned about where we're going and what's going to happen to us in the future. So we've talked about bullying, we've talked about violence. Now let's talk about gangs. Is gangs a good thing?
No.
Okay, if it's not a good thing, would you want to be in one?
No.
Even though, what are the advantages? Can you tell us the advantages of being in a gang? What good, from what you've heard, what advantages are there?
The people who want to get in the game, they think they gonna protect them.
Okay, so guys are getting there for protection. Okay, very good. That's a good point.
And then when they get locked up, then they don't show them love.
Oh, say when they get locked up. So this young man's saying that people want to be in the gangs for protection. And then when they get put into incarceration in the police custody, that those people don't come for them. So that tells you, you hear it from these people, these young people. What do you think, sir?
I think it's just ridiculous for what they have to do, and it's just stupid for how they have to react to things and how they have to follow their leader. It's just hanging around the wrong people.
And this young man just said, and I want to reiterate each one of these guys because they're saying great thing. This young man just said that in being in a gang, that really it is not wise. Even the word stupid is a good word. He said for the simple fact that each of these people are being led by people who are just like their daddy, like over them, and they're not getting any benefits from it. It's just that you become a part of something that is unending, and once you get in, a lot of time there is not a way out, unless you have to work your way out. And I say work your way out, we don't know what that means because we've never been in there. Some people move away, some people, all kinds of things. So we don't know. You don't want to, for the simple fact that you have now obligated yourself.
And the gangs in Australia are very rare to see. The cops are very strict about it. Even if you're just hanging with your friends, the cops will
They
pull
disperse
over.
crowds, yes.
That's what they need to do down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you think about it.
Even if you're not in a gang, they will pull over and ask you questions and all that.
But now think about that. Now what if, now see, that's why we have to find a line. Because think about it. If every time someone's seen, and we as African Americans, I have to just say it honestly, we very seldom, until the past recent years, have been comfortable enough to gather in groups of 4, 5, 6, and 7 throughout our city. And we don't want to leave the message that every time you see a few people together, no matter what they are, the police run in and break them up. We don't want that. What we want to be able to do is find a line of communication where we can go out and gather in the community freely without feeling pressured. So we don't want more police watching over us. I think what we got to say is we got to learn how to govern ourselves.
Reputation.
Yes, we've got to be able to teach and test one another to help each other.
But if we have guns and stuff, that's what leads to the violence.
But that's right. So we shouldn't carry guns. If we don't have a permit, we don't have the proper papers, we shouldn't carry guns. That's right.
And but that's when people gonna start getting their permits.
Yeah, well then that's good because then we'll know and they'll be registered and they'll know how. That's a good point. Go ahead.
Like the games and stuff, like when we be playing games and stuff they be shooting folks and stuff, like on the games and stuff, and that what get folks to get in their mind.
Very good.
And they just go out and kill somebody.
What are some of the games?
What are the games?
Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, Call of Duty, and some more things.
So these now, the kids are talking about, and we're talking still violence, the kids are now talking about video games. Now, you're hearing it, manufacturers, presidents of companies, you're hearing the kids talk about that from their mouths, that the games that you are producing is putting violent thoughts and ideas in the kids' mind, like Grand Theft Auto. I think myself, where the kids can go to the strip club on the game, that is ridiculous. For the kids to go inside of a club and buy drinks, automatically if a kid gets a game, there should be some restrictions of what a kid can get on that game unless he has an adult supervision. We have got to get a better grasp on what we are feeding to our kids.
And I remember in Australia about a couple months ago, there was a kid that had Grand Theft Auto, and he had a fake gun, and he pretended that he was actually playing the actual game in real life.
Yeah.
And he was hijacking a car, and the person killed him.
And that's funny because some of the shootings, the school shootings, they actually
think it's in real life.
Right.
Think it's
It's like, cause on Grand Theft Auto, you be having like AKs, snipers, and you can go in the clubs and buy beers and be in strip clubs and all of that.
Yeah.
And they can the folks on the video games, they can get in people's cars, breaking folks' cars.
So
and I would
how to
never
rob.
So it's giving you the idea of violence.
And then
yes.
they can sex.
Now see, did you hear what he just said? And now
They do what?
they have sex. Yeah.
You can see them having sex on the video games.
Yes.
So this is the thing we say. So this young man, and now let's touch another basis. Let's get some ages. Your age is
14.
14. You are
15.
15.
11.
11.
12.
12. So we got a range of ages in here from basically 11 to 15. So we're talking about young adult to younger adult. And this is so important that at this point right now that we find some solutions to this. So for today, I can say that we have covered quite a bit of ground. Once again, I'd like everyone to introduce themselves, starting with one of our hosts.
Hi, I'm Nakara Jackson.
Hi, I'm Chalita.
Okay, John Lachlan.
Jai.
And Quan. Alex Jackson.
And I'm John Chris with Legends by Lang and the Golden Wing Foundation. We'd like to thank you for your time right now. We'd like to thank each and every one of our guests and our host. And we'd like to say we'll see you next time on Shouting Out or Speaking Out in your community. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.